What is a bad habit that a shocking amount of people have? Before we start with the first story, please hit a subscribe and ring the notification bell to stay updated with us. Number 10. Responding with defensiveness rather than curiosity to the unknown. I get really excited when I talk to someone about a topic I find interesting, and they know more about it than me because then I can ask them questions and learn even more, and it's a fun way to bond with people. An old roommate of mine took a Philosophy 101 course and was super excited to share with me about what she had learned, and I listened and agreed with her that everything she said was interesting, and I was stoked that she enjoyed learning about it and said there's so much more cool stuff to learn about the things she said, and she will love it. She burst out crying and screaming at me that I should have pretended I didn't know anything about philosophy so she could have her moment, and that by not playing dumb I was an unsupportive piece of shit. I didn't last a year living with her. She was unhinged. I've never in my life heard of someone thinking that's how people should act and insisting them not automatically do it made them so bizarre. Number 9. Being checked out during social interactions. Phone in hand, not really listening, not present. As an introvert that has trouble keeping a conversation going, I have to be so conscious of myself doing this. The second I get uncomfortable around people, I look at my phone, and I hate that I do that. I got super upset with my partner about this one time. He was able to tell me what I'd said so clearly, he was listening to some extent, and I did feel like kind of a jerk. Still, we should be able to have a short conversation without looking at the phone for a couple minutes. The phone addiction is real, and I think it's important for everyone to be careful when engaging with people in real life. It's to feel less important than a phone lol. Number 8. Materialism, buying stuff just for the sake of buying it, not because you need it. I think a lot of people have this huge empty hole in their soul that they constantly try to fill with more and more stuff. Hey, don't mean to be attacked like this. I didn't need a fuzzy frog-shaped scrunchie with googly eyes, but it made me really happy, okay? I know you're probably joking, but this was the best comment to expound upon this topic. Totally fine to buy things that make you happy. I do it myself. The issue is when people buy and don't use. I have frivolous things, but I use them all the time or enough to where it feels worth it. A lot of people buy, use it once, then throw it in the closet, especially this season. White elephant gifts are probably the worst. Number 7. I would say never changing your oil or car fluids. I was surprised when a mechanic told me that 90% of people never maintain their car. In the summer of this year, I helped someone jump their car. They said no one she knows how to do that except for their dad. They'd also said no one carried jumper cables anymore, thankful but also condescending. I just shrugged and silently thanked my father for insisting I carry an old black JanSport backpack with old-ass jumper cables that I've transferred from car to car since I was 16 just because my dad said so. I'm 42 now. I'm gonna cry. I love my dad so much. I hate that he is going deeper into dementia. It's not bad at the moment, but I'm a nursing assistant and my siblings are nurses. We know what's coming. Anyway, carry a backpack with jumper cables in your car. Dad also said to have blankets and gardening gloves for when you have to change your tire. Now that I no longer live in Southern California, I need to add kitty litter or something lighter for winter. I have a mini shovel in the trunk though. Number 6. Lying. Probably the biggest shock I got from the real world once I started adulting is how much people lie and try to manipulate. It's disheartening. My ex used to lie about the most mundane shit. He would embellish stories or make things up completely just to make a more entertaining story, and would come up with a genius lie to make up an excuse like it was nothing. It blew my mind when I watched him do it to our friends. I called him out on it, and he said it wasn't a big deal because it didn't hurt anyone. No surprise that he was constantly lying to me too, and not just about small things. As someone who is honest to a fault, I just don't get it. Number 5. Getting offended when someone makes a mistake. You're not going to die if some random stranger on the net doesn't know the difference between there, and there. Also getting offended by someone's personal preferences. So what if some people prefer iPhone over Android, DC over Marvel, or cream in their coffee? There's nothing wrong with that. It's not like they listen to Justin Bieber. Honestly, I used to find people using the wrong versions of words infuriating, and then I got into social work and realized that you have no idea how or why that person made that mistake. They could have learning disabilities, English might be their second plus language, etc., 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 and now I see that getting hung up on that stuff is pretty toxic, and not very accepting of people having different life experiences. Number 4. Playing loud music or videos on their phone without earbuds in a community space like a library. When I was in school, I would take the bus and train, and every now and again, people would do this. The last time it happened to me was actually in the waiting room for Quest for Blood work. This guy was listening to some stupid shit in his phone, and I asked if he could turn it down, not even off, just lower the volume. Well, that was a mistake. He got very confrontational and was like, "You don't pay my phone bill," and was just a real... I guess he was a walk-in because he was waiting before I got there to be seen, and he got up and left a few minutes later. The entire time, he was mumbling to himself about "you got jokes" and stupid like I had the nerve to ask him to stop listening to some loud garbage in a waiting room. People are beyond rude and disrespectful, and they wonder why they have a hard time in their life. Number 3. Waiting to talk instead of listening. Agreed. I will add though, and I don't know if it's just me, but if I want to contribute to the conversation, I need to be reminding myself of what I wanted to say at a particular point, or I'll end up getting distracted by the next part of the convo, and then lose track of what I wanted to say. And then it seems like I wasn't listening. When I was, it's just that my brain is bad at listening, thinking and remembering, all at the same time. Maybe it's an autism thing. Edit, thank you for all of the comments so far. I'm glad that people can relate to the way my brain works and understand it. Brains are weird. I'm not the first person to acknowledge that, and I will be the last. It seems like people on the spectrum or with autistic traits and people with ADHD can relate the most, and I just wanted to also add that finding a way to understand yourself and others is different for everyone, and that is totally okay. Best of luck to you all. Number 2. Interrupting. I was guilty of this for so long for a couple of reasons. First, you've had to interrupt to be heard in my house. Not so much interrupt, but wait for a moment to speak up. Get beat for being disrespectful, so timing was crucial. In my mother's long monologues. Second, I have ADHD and would be excited and impulsively talk with friends. I never knew I had this issue until my daughter told me it bothered her when she was interrupted, so I became more self-aware, and now I do my best to ensure she, and everyone, has finished what they were trying to say before I start talking. Only exception is if it is something they will miss if I don't say something right then. Like if we are driving and there is a pretty car or something. I never even realized I was interrupting before she brought it to my attention. Number 1. Stopping. In doorways, like, "Do you want to get ran over? I will run over you." Just kidding, I will silently get annoyed and let it secretly ruin my day. I actually have to fight myself to not at least visibly look pissed off, or I have to bite my tongue when I'm walking away. I have a bad habit of loudly sighing or making a comment like, "Did you need the whole doorway?" When I'm finally walking by. It's not even done in their direction, it's just probably loud enough for them to hear, and it's still not very nice of me. I try not to, but it's very easy to say I won't do it again when I'm not actively annoyed. Alright folks, that's a wrap for today's stories. If you like more of this, please hit a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. You can also share your thoughts in the comment below. I'll see you in the next video.